Say go live.
It's going live.
And you got audio meters all the way up, Sasha?
Yeah, right here.
Yeah? Yeah. Perfect. Guys, can you hear me? Does the audio sound all right? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Say lobster if you can hear me and see me. Everything looks good. Let's kill these other lights.
Yes, okay.
Yeah?
Oh,
I can hear you.
Oh, yeah.
All right. All right, the first ever Yo Bro Hotline. I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to kind of call in and ask me some questions, but also to bring in some special guests, people that I respect, and hopefully send you guys down a rabbit hole and see some other people's work and get inspired all over again. So today we have a friend of mine, Jamie McPherson. Jamie, am I saying it right? McPherson?
That's the one, yeah?
Can you, let's see if I can set this up so you can see me. There we go. So Jamie, I first discovered your work when you were doing, I guess I was, I discovered your work just searching like Netflix super cinematic, like long lens cinematography. I think it was Our Planet was the first one that I watched. But you've been in the game for quite a while, yeah?
Yeah, longer than I've been done. Yeah, since I left school. 20 odd years now.
Wow. And what first brought you into that?
Well, I got into it at school, assisting other camera operators. So I was an assistant and I worked my way through from that. But it was a passion for wildlife and cinematography, really, and then combining the two. And avoiding getting a proper job, really.
And so, like, what are the companies that you shoot for currently? You shoot for?
I'm working for an indie called Silverback Films, which made Our Planet. We're making a new series for Netflix, and I've worked for the BBC, Nat Geo, Discovery, pretty much anybody who does wildlife documentaries.
Wow. Hey guys, can you hear his audio fine?
It's kind of low.
It's kind of low.
Turn up the guest volume.
I might have to bring an additional boom up then. Yeah, there's no way around this.
It's for the difference of you and him.
Yeah. So Sasha, maybe you can boost the audio right over there. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, boost that a little bit. Perfect. Okay, that'll work. Okay, all right. Sorry about that. We're still working things out. I'm like trying to set up this whole little thing so we can FaceTime and watch some of your clips and just kind of trip out together. You've
I
like
your setup. It probably doesn't help that I've just got a phone resting on my laptop.
Oh, really? So what first got you into filming? Like, how long have you been doing it?
I've been doing it for 23 years now.
Oh,
I've
wow.
had problems in my life, so this is it. I'm not going to be able to do anything else now.
And I haven't, to be honest with you, I haven't really quite seen other people's work like yours. You do a really long lens cinematic thing that it's something that I'm super into myself, and then I don't know if it was like some subconscious mirroring, because you've been at this a lot longer than I have.
Watch your hands.
But at some point, I started definitely adopting this style of like long lens moving gimbal stuff, but I do it on a much smaller scale than you do. You do like super pro.
Thing,
Oh my God, what is that?
That's my GSS. This is my office. And I just moved my motorbike out to make space for my GSS. So my motorbike's now in the sitting room, which my missus isn't quite so pleased about. But I kind of got into that style because I used to do what everyone does as an assistant, as you're working with camera operators that are like the top of their game, amazing guys like Martin Colbeck and Mike Richards, and I tried to do what they did. And then when I was a little way in, I thought, well, I should just do my own thing. And the Cineflex was a new bit of kit at the time, and I worked with an operator who was using it, and I was like, that is the thing, that is amazing. The applications are just, off the scale. So once I got my hands on one, then it sort of exploded from there, really.
Yeah. For those of you guys who don't know, Cineflex is like a major big gimbal. They use it for sporting events, documentaries. They normally are attached to helicopters and snowmobiles and that kind of thing. So it's like these are like what the pros use. And now there's a couple other companies that make them too. There's like Shot Over.
Yeah, Shot Over and GSS are the only two now because Cineflex has been bought by GSS. But yeah, so there's two main big guys in the game.
Yeah, that's like.
But they're amazing bits of kit. Really, really cool.
That's what you do when you save. When you save up enough, that's what you get.
Yeah.
What?
No, when you borrow enough, that's what you get.
What does a rig like that cost? I mean, it's the gimbal plus then you're mounting a red in there or a Canon
Yeah,
C3.
so red helium plus I use a Canon CN20, a 50 to 1000 mil lens, 50 to 1500. But yeah, the whole lot altogether is like a house worth of money. It's like $500,000.
Wow.
Oh my God, $500,000! Wow, that's great. Let's take a look at some of the stuff. So you probably, Sasha, let's cut over to the other angle here. Let's see here. So this is something that I cut together. I'm not sure if this is all of your work, but this is what I originally referenced, I believe.
They provide
There you go.
vital space, but they're disappearing fast.
Can you see that?
Yeah, no. Guess what it is, but I can't see it.
All right. So this is all from Netflix, Our Planet. Did you? Obviously, they have a couple of DPs on there, a couple camera guys, or is it just you and maybe one other guy?
It's a big team. So there must be 20 or 30 altogether camera operators across the series.
Yeah.
There'll be a core team of a few principal operators who will do the majority of the work, but yeah, there's a lot of different skill sets of underwater macro guys and guys that specialize in different things. That takes a lot of different people to bring that sort of thing together.
And so, do you mainly specialize in like the long lens cinematography stuff, or are you doing everything?
I never did do a little bit of everything. I just went full. I thought long lens was the coolest thing, so I went full on for long lens and went for that really.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. There's something like smooth and just.
Hand.
I mean, Sasha, I got it. I understand. There's something really
It's the most technically difficult thing, but I would say that because that's what I do. But yeah, for me, that was the hardest thing, was to do super long lens. And the guys I used to assist and loved the work of were, they had fixed focal length lenses, so they could follow the action on the end of a 600mm lens. Couldn't ever zoom out to work anything else out. So it was sort of that skill set that I wanted to try and sort of learn and to get good at.
Wow. I definitely try to copy this style on my Segway and my little,
Yeah, I want that rig.
like
I
a
love
70
it,
to 200 is the longest that I'll go. I've tried it on a 400 though, and I referenced that video, that episode I did a couple back, referencing your work, and even at 400 at 2.8 was like, oh my God, mind blowing.
Yeah, you need a lot of electronics to help keep it stable over 400.
Yeah, how are you stabilizing that?
Well, the gimbals have incredibly complex electronics inside that stabilize the image. You can be at the previous one with the Fujinon lens was at 2,200mm, and it'll be absolutely rock steady when you could hold the camera and shake it, and the image is still rock steady. So
at 2,000
tech in there helping you up. Yeah.
Wow, dude, that is. You know how hard it was for me just to get 400mm to look steady on that gimbal and that lens.
Yeah, well, once you've got the image stable, then you can worry about the rest of it, which is like this stuff you're showing now, like driving at 40 miles an hour, chasing a cheetah. You got a lot of it's stable to a certain extent, but framing and focus and everything else becomes significantly harder. So you're talking to the driver, you're talking to the crane operator if there is one, and your task loading of what you're trying to achieve is much more complicated.
And none of that's stabilized in post.
Some of it maybe, but no. But you can see it's still moving around. But yeah, the gimbal's doing most of the work. But you're sat in the back of a 4x4 being shaken around like crazy. So you've got to really go for it. Plus, you only get 1 or 2 goes at anything like that if you're lucky. So.
What's crazy is the how you play with the motion parallax, right? So shooting on a long lens, you're tracking a subject. The focal length is more or less the same as long as they don't get too far away, and objects are now passing in between the frame, like bushes and trees. It's giving this really cool optical perspective that you just normally don't see.
That cinematic style that I love. It makes it feel more exciting, but as long as it's not too distracting. So I'm trying to do it to a certain extent, but not the parallax where you spin stuff. I think it's a bit too far. But when you've got things in the foreground that make you feel like you're there with the animals, and that's what I'm going for, without distracting people too much. They shouldn't really be noticing it.
What happened like the first time when you were telling whoever, the director or producers, you're like, this is what I want to do, this is what it's going to look like. What was that? How did that unfold?
They said no.
What did
they
you...
said it wouldn't work, and then they said no, and then they said, what? No, the camera's worth $500,000. There's no way I'm letting you put that on a vehicle. So it took a little bit of persuading. And then we did some tests in London. I think I sent you the clip. We took a Labrador to a park in London and made a sort of a jimmy rig of it, and tested it out and proved that we weren't going to break the camera or anything else, and that style, that theory would work. And that was for the BBC series The Hunt, where we did that.
Wow. And then after that, you did that once.
After that, the door was open. It was a bit easier.
Now, did you start getting booked like crazy after that too? When they were with because it's a whole different style of shooting entirely.
Yeah, I've not been. Yeah, well, I've got that now. So yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. That is amazing. So, what's the longest focal length you put on that?
That's the old Fusionon. There was a 42 times Fusionon that was
2000?
equivalent of Super 35 is 2,300 mil when you got the doubler in, which isn't great, but it's always more fun to have the doubler in.
Can we please shoot something together?
Yeah.
When this quarantine lifts. Where are you? What part of the world are you?
I'm in Bristol, the UK.
Okay. Is that where you're from?
It's just about getting dark.
Sounds like it.
My boys stopped playing Fortnite next door. A bit quiet to know.
Your audio sounds fine. Sasha, you guys have any questions for Jamie? Any questions from the audience, Sasha?
Yeah, we're looking. Let's see right now.
So, I mean, I can't even remember where I first saw it. I think I just was watching Netflix Our Planet, and I think it was the second one that you had done. The first one was the Wild Dogs, and that was from, what show was that, BBC?
I did a series called The Hunt for the BBC, which is when we sort of developed this technique of stabilized systems on cameras. The Wild Dogs was the one that sort of broke through, and then Tigers for the Hunt as well was one of my favorites. And then after that, Our Planet is like, I've been working with the same guys now for like 6 years, so Our Planet's a long way down the line.
Wow. And obviously everything's kind of on a hiatus right now for you. Yeah, homeschooling, putting the GSS on lawn mower. Is there any other projects that you can kind of speak about that maybe is in the future or something that you're working on yet to be released?
I can't speak. I'm a series DOP on a new Netflix series, but I can't really talk about that. But that's kind of on hiatus. I'm doing some DOP stuff in the background, but I can't really. Yeah.
I get you. You signed all those releases.
Yeah.
All right, so let's field the question from the audience.
Okay, so Piston Head Productions asks, what do you film with at home?
What do you film with at home?
iPhone.
Really?
Actually, no, but now this. Now I put this on my lawnmower yesterday, the day before, so...
You put it on... Hold on.
My boys up.
I think I have a photograph of that. So this is... You put that on your lawnmower.
Yeah.
That's amazing. How fast do you go?
It's on the homeschooling curriculum now. It's pretty good. Now that I'm headmaster.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So in there is an 8K helium.
Yeah. And a Canon 52-1000.
Will you please send me a clip of whatever you shoot on that? It could just be.
Yeah, I've got it. I'll send it over straight away. Yeah.
You got like the mailman just dropping off your mail. And
Well, at the moment, I'm the driver of the lawnmower because that's the expensive bit. So my eldest boy Billy, who's 11, has been operating the camera, and my youngest Louis is the stunt driver in his little go-kart. So I'll send you over some of those clips.
Oh wow! So you got the whole family involved, dude. You're living the dream. This guy is living the dream. You gotta do it. You gotta do a shot to you, my man. Respect.
Oh, sorry, my girlfriend's heckling over the wall.
That's
My
all right.
producer, girlfriend Sophie Lamphere, is also helping.
Oh, that's super helpful. She's a producer, huh?
Yeah. The boss. Look at that sweet rig.
Let's see. So now you also had some spinning parallax stuff as well. You have.
Yeah, that was back. That was a while back. That was
Huh?
like a long time ago.
Freeze out.
Yeah, that was sort of finding
Go-
my
go
feet
to-
and
go to
working
another
out what
camera.
was trying to show off,
One
basically.
second, Jamie. All right. These cameras have a recording limit. There we go. Camera 3 should be back on.
Nope, not yet.
It's not on yet. Do you have image yet?
Let me see. Yep.
Okay.
Another question?
1 second here. So, all right. So I got the bird smashing the a snail
Yeah,
onto a
that was
rock.
That was in
That's what
2000 and I don't know. That was probably like 15 years ago.
All right. 1 second. There we go. This was 15. Wow. Okay. So you've been doing this parallax thing for a really long time. 15 years ago,
Yeah,
you
that
figured
was,
this
that
out.
was back in the day of just that was purely showing off and seeing what the most ridiculous shot I could come up with was.
I mean, look
But
at
you
that.
asked me if I had any pictures of it. I've got no pictures because that was pre-smartphone.
Wow. So what was this shot on then? It looks a little grainy. I mean, it looks like it was shot 15 years ago.
That's on not even Super 16, a 16mm high-speed film camera. I know that was on an Arri actually. That was on a Super 16 Arri.
Wow. Dude. I mean, this is one of those shots. I remember.
There was no reason for that shot. That was just showing off. That was,
I know.
there was no sort of
Yeah, but that's what we do.
narrative.
That's what you're supposed to do. I love that.
Yeah.
I wish I was in the room when the producers saw that footage playback, and you're like, guys, I got it. I got the bird smacking a thing on a rock. It's insane.
Yeah.
Wow. So you built this whole rig then. You came up with this idea, and you built a whole. Walk me through it.
Yeah. So we were, right, so the bit of ground the thrush is standing on is actually suspended from the ceiling. So it was a massive set. The ground is suspended from the ceiling. I dug a pit that was like 8 feet across, a big circular pit.
Let's see if I can.
Inside that is a Arri spinning round on this crazy arm that does 2
You drew
revolutions a second.
you drew a couple of diagrams here.
Yeah, a pretty sweet diagram.
So the
You can
first.
recreate it from that.
Let's see. The first one I have. Yeah. So it looks like you have the trampoline here, and then it looks like you have. Was that really what it was? That really what it was?
Looks like, well, now I could use a trampoline. It wasn't a trampoline. It was just a bit of plywood suspended from the ceiling of this big frame I made out of wood. Now looking back, I should have just got a trampoline.
Oh wow! All right. So we have a whole frame here, and then. This is so. Where was this? Was this shot on like a sound set, or was this shot in the middle of the
No,
jungle?
it's just a friend of mine, the guy I used to work with, the cinematographer Charlie Humpton James, who's a big deal Nat Geo photographer now. And we did that. We did that in his garden. So we just dug a big pit and went from there.
That's just silly.
Yeah.
It's
That was kind of the point.
amazing. All right, so it looks like you have. I don't know if you can. You probably can't see this, but there's another one with a bird on top above a fishbowl. Is that another shot?
Oh, that was So me and Charlie's. The previous one was Charlie's idea. We had. I haven't got any footage of that here, but it was to film a kingfisher diving into the water and do a time test of a kingfisher underwater. So that was all Charlie's idea. But to do that, we did the similar thing. We had to get a bowl. We got a table. We cut a hole in it. We put the bowl in the middle of the table, carried it down to the river. And then that was a low cam, which is an even worse standard 16 camera, high speed, and we did the same thing. We spun it round just to see what would happen, just showing off. There was no narrative reason for that at all.
Wow, that's nuts, man. That is, I've never even seen anything like that before. So then the last one I have I have a drawing of the Cinewagon.
Yeah, so, I thought you'd just send you that because it's such a brilliant artist's impression of what we then later built.
So this is you call it a 4x4? Is just like like an ATV or a Jeep or something?
No, that's you pushed that along. So that was because we used that to film the penguins from Art Planet. You can't see it, that's from above. The amazing drawing. But that was to film penguins on the beach in South Georgia for Art Planet for the Frozen Worlds episode.
Is that the one that you sent me on Instagram, not on email? I don't have that one previewed yet.
Yeah.
Maybe I can.
So the idea for that was just to again use the same long lens tracking style, but without resorting to using a Ronin or a Steadicam, which with those short focal lengths, you have to get so close to the subject that they get a bit freaked out and you don't get natural behaviour. So the idea of that was to use the longer lens. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff, man. So what's next for you during this whole quarantine thing? How are you staying busy? How are you staying motivated?
Well, I've got 2 boys, so I'm homeschooling. I'm putting my GSS on everything I can. So I think tomorrow I'm going to put on the canoe, push that around the garden, put it in the paddling pool maybe.
You're going to put it on the canoe. That's amazing.
Yeah. But we're getting very close with homeschooling. That Call of Duty is going to be on the curriculum soon, I think. So we'll see how it goes.
Sasha, do we have any other questions for Jamie from the audience?
Yeah, this is a good one. More Media asks, Jamie, have you had any animal encounters that scared you?
Jamie, have you had any, just to say it again because it was kind of low, but have you had any animal encounters that have scared you?
Yeah, well, I guess, take your pick. I guess the most recent one was filming polar bears with my partner, Sophie Lanfear, for her episode of Frozen Worlds. We were filming narwhal in this tiny tin boat, and there was a polar bear sleeping, and we were like, we'll film the polar bear. And then the polar bear got up and then started to come towards us, and we were like, oh, shit, that's not great. So we had a shotgun for protection to try and scare it off, but the shotgun was jammed, and then the tiny tin boat, which we'd not even tested, we put in the water, and the outboard motor didn't work, and then the fog came in, so the helicopter couldn't come, and we were basically sat in this tin boat, getting ready with like all my tools, ready to just throw them at the polar bear, thinking that might be the thing that'd save us. So, yeah, I've had a few.
Wow. Dude, how big is... I've never seen a polar bear, like, other than the zoo.
How big? Yeah.
Yep. A lot bigger than at the zoo, huh?
Yeah.
Now, is a lot of that stuff real that's happening right now with the environmental changes? What have you kind of witnessed with just global warming?
Everything is changing. It's totally real. There's no question. There are... everywhere you go, the rains are changing. The Masai Mara, Serengeti... Anywhere in Africa, the Arctic's melting, the Antarctic's changing. So yeah, it's all true, and it's all happening faster than anybody could possibly imagine.
Yeah, and you're seeing like emaciated polar bears, and I mean, you guys.
Yeah, well, it sort of varies. There's little bits where obviously a lot of polar bears in certain areas, people like they're doing really well, but that's generally because there's no ice, so there's more of them in certain areas. Obviously, the walrus that we filmed for Our Planet Frozen Worlds episode is about the starkest example of climate change because there's no ice, so the walrus are all coming to shore and they're climbing these cliffs and falling down, and it's horrendous, and that's happening all over the place. But it's whether crews are there and people are documenting those stories, whether they get home to people.
Yeah. So where can what is on our playlist tonight? What are we watching tonight?
Oh, I'd watch Our Planet personally, Frozen Worlds, but
so we'll check out your work on Frozen Worlds, but then and that's like your work for people that don't know. What should we tune in to see first?
Well, The Hunt, which I'm pretty sure is still on Netflix, which was the BBC thing from 2015.
All right, the BBC Hunt. All right, Sasha, see if you can pull up a Netflix link or advertisement for The Hunt and put it in the bios. That way the audience can just click the link.
called The Hunt.
Yeah, The Hunt for BBC.
Yeah.
Trailer.
Yeah.
Failing that, anything by tied to YTT,
Yeah.
X-Right, any of those guys.
All right. And what are you watching? What movies are you watching?
Oh, we're still working our way through the Marvel films on Disney Plus.
Oh, nice. What do you think of Mandalorian?
Yeah, it's good.
I know, right?
Almost. Yeah.
It's
Really,
like
really disappointing.
I don't look. I think the cinematography and the set building is amazing. I mean, they're doing digital backgrounds and that are being like,
Yeah. VFX
it's
is
not even
amazing.
projection. They're
The
like building
storyboard work's
these.
amazing, but yeah, it's kind of just like a bad cowboy film a few times over. It's a bit too much, really.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're doing some really special filming there, but like the storylines are just. It's like, who do you guys make this for? Is this for 5-year-olds?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
The
like
baddies
so
are coming, let's
simple
get
to
the village-
follow. What's up, Sasha?
We'll train the village up and the village don't fight back. It's kind of seen it before, really.
Yeah. All right, man. Jamie, is there anything else that you wanted to say or talk about, or because we got all day? I don't want to hold you up too late because it's what 8 o'clock, 8:30 your time.
It's about 8:30. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We can take a couple of
Yeah. Any questions? Then we'll just send it through or whatever.
yeah. Let's do some more questions. We got time.
What is the most challenging shoot you've been on that's not gear related?
What's the most challenging shoot that you've been on that's not gear related?
Gear related. I'd say the sort of logistically most challenging was the filming the walrus in Russia, because it's just the complexity of getting there, which is pretty much all on the production side, on Sophie, the producer director of that, of getting us there and being there. I'd say that was probably the toughest. I guess they probably mean physically toughest.
Let me see if I can pull up this Instagram. Camera 3 is out at the moment, but I'll turn it back on in a second. Let's see. You sent this to me on Insta Stories. Let's see here. I want to pull up this stuff. Are you also shooting low light stuff in is it Our Night, the new one that's on?
Night on Earth, yeah. So I did a shoot with we put a Celex thermal imaging camera inside a shot over F1. So it's just thermal imaging of lions hunting at night, which was just absolutely amazing. Turns out lions are nocturnal, do a lot more at night.
Dude, it's wild the stuff that you get to do. Like, I feel like us YouTubers, we get all the credit, and then there's all of these underground OG camera guys that are just killing it. They're like the top of their class, top of their game. And
you can just come out with us next time.
I want to. I so like honestly, how could that actually work? Will you just vouch for me? Like, yeah, I got a camera guy. He's perfect.
Yeah. I'll just say you're doing them behind the scenes.
I'll do BTS.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
Better way of doing it behind
I'll
the
do it for
scenes.
free.
Deal.
I would do an episode on that. Let's see if I can pull up. All right, so let me turn this camera back on.
How fast that car goes after a tiger? Not very fast. Tigers are pretty slow. I can answer this.
All right, Sasha, can we go to camera 3?
Yeah.
All right. So this is you in front. This is you in front of the Jeep on a Cineflex. That one was for our dogs. That was the first one.
Probably Wild Dogs, yeah.
Wild
I think
Dogs.
it's probably the one, like it's got about 40 scaffold tubes on the front because I was a bit paranoid that incredibly expensive camera's going to fall off. So I over-rigged it slightly.
And then we have, so here's the test shoot with you and your dogs. You and your kids.
No, that was for the hunt. That was to sort of prove the theory, see if we didn't break anything, and then say that this idea of that sort of long lens tracking parallax.
And you had to send this to the producers in order for them just to get the okay.
Oh no, I went and talked to them about it and then persuaded them, and then they were like, "Well, I'm not sure." So we borrowed a Cineflex, we borrowed a Land Rover, borrowed a dog, and then we came back with the footage and then went, see, I think it'll work, and they kind of got excited. So.
Wow.
we
And what year was this that you did that one?
That would be 2013, probably.
Okay. Wow. By the way, guys, if you want to check out his Instagram by Jamie McPherson, it's full of all these clips. It's got some amazing stuff. So I have him linked in the description as well. Let's see here. Here we have the lions, or it looks like the tigers. This looks legit. Let's see if I can move that over.
Forests cover 1/3 of the lands of the earth.
No, so that's the
Hiding within them
ultimate to
are
the hunt.
half of all the animals.
Oh, this is the intro to the hunt.
Yeah, for the hide and seek episode, so the jungles episode, and that was when we had
Forests
the
are complex places
Cineplex
in
on a
which
crane on the back of a little pickup Jeep.
Wow.
But again, the way that historically tigers were filmed was from the back of a Jeep with a camera on a tripod, and obviously you're very limited of what you can do. No one can move in the car.
Now
Quite
who's
high up. So
now? Are
the
you
crane was back?
now? What is your
Let's move around.
when you're doing these jobs? What's your actual title? Is it cinematographer, DP, camera operator?
It depends. It's generally just camera operator. Now it's moving towards everyone's a DOP, so I'm a DOP now. But yeah, you work with the producer and you work out the style of what you're going to do, and then you go there with a style in mind and how you're going to try and capture the behaviour and make it feel fresh and different without distracting people with too many, without spinning around a song thrush or something crazy nowadays.
And it's got to be pretty intense, like trying to recreate these shots for animals, like because they don't, you're just waiting, and then you're like, you kind of know what you want to do, but
no, there's a lot of waiting. I mean, the tigers is probably the subject I've spent the least time with, because you're lucky if you spend 2, 3, maybe 5 minutes a day with a tiger, when you can see it, and it's let alone when it's actually going to do anything exciting. But just a tiger walking, you're lucky if you get 5 minutes a day. So that's a lot of just a shot every day or 2 days, and you build up the story, and then you hope that when something exciting does happen, that you're actually looking the right way and no one's having a cup of tea.
Wow.
Everyone's paying attention.
Any of those tigers ever charge you?
No, they're so habituated. They're so used to cars. It's so busy out there that no. Polar bears look at you like they might want to eat you. Elephants do. Hippos do. But tigers are pretty chilled out.
Let's see what else. What was the one that I was gonna pull up something else? Oh, the walrus. I'm trying to find the walrus. Let's see. Here's the dolphins. You film underwater stuff as well?
Only with a camera on a stick.
Oh, okay. Like a GoPro?
Keep it simple, yeah.
Just GoPro stuff, and you're filming in the pool with your kids.
Yeah, what you need is a stick, some gaffer tape.
What's this ripsaw tank? What is this?
That's not mine. I think we were just chatting about ridiculous rigs.
Did you drive that?
No.
Oh.
That was just what we were talking about.
Oh, oh yeah, I see. I want to try to find this. Is the walrus one? Is this the one with the penguins in front, or the dolphins?
The walrus is. It's not a tracking thing. It's. I don't know if I've sent you any of that sort of stuff.
Oh, I thought.
It's pretty depressing. It's going to be a real downer for people.
Oh, well, I have seen that one. It's the one where they're throwing themselves over the. Now, in your mind, were the walruses just thinking that there was ice below, and because that's what they're accustomed to, sliding down?
They're just used to being on ice, which is, a meter at most off the water. They haven't got great eyesight, so when they want to go back to the sea, they can hear all the walrus out at sea. They can't really see them, so they just beeline straight for them, and they have no concept of what a 100-meter high cliff is, so they just go straight off it, and it's the most horrendous thing I've ever seen.
Wow. I want to see if I can pull up a clip for this.
Yeah, showing the clip of that crazy tracked vehicle.
Yeah, what was it? That was on Netflix, Our Planet?
Netflix, Our Planet, Frozen World, yeah. I think I put some clips on my Instagram feed. But I want to put a camera on that ripsaw tank thing. It's amazing. I don't know what you use it for. I think it'd scare most things.
Yeah. All right, Sasha. Let's see if you can go to Cam 3. Just see what we're talking about.
Netflix have just put Our Planet on YouTube, the whole series for free. As an educational sort of resource for people, so people can check it out on that even if they haven't got Netflix.
Dude, yeah, I mean, I remember watching this and it was pretty freaking graphic and heartbreaking, dude. These walruses are just throwing themselves.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the most heartbreaking thing I've ever seen filmed, and probably the most important story, just because we don't realise that sort of thing's happening. And there's still this idea that climate change isn't real out there in the media, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
That must anger you.
Well, it's just like arguing there's no gravity. It's a fact.
Right.
It's not,
or the planet is flat.
Yeah.
Which it is.
Of course. Yeah, I've never seen which side of the fence I was on. Was
there at any point where you guys having the conversation of like, should we intervene? I mean, I don't know what you could do, but I know that there's that ethics of when you're filming.
Well, I mean, most things you don't want to, and this is you couldn't. There's no way you could. I mean,
right?
Massive. There's 100,000 of them. So
and they're like these things are like what, 1,500 pounds?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I'm not going to be able to catch that many of them.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like what could you do? Blow a foghorn or something? Be like, no.
Yeah, like get a big sort of big freezer, freeze the ocean again.
Yeah, I guess
catch
that.
them in the net.
Yeah.
There's a question.
Bouncy castles.
You got another question for me, Sasha?
Yeah, FF wants to know if Jimmy went to film school.
Oh, that's a good
not,
question.
How did he learn?
Yeah. Where did you get your background? You go to film school?
Nope. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm making it up. I started out as an assistant, so I learned from other camera operators, and then through filmmaking, you basically pick it up as you go along. So there wasn't many courses available when I started out. It was you got a job as an assistant, and you watched what they did, and you helped them, and you saw their craft, and you picked up, and you watched everything they did, and learned that way. Really learned practically in the field with camera operators. And
what was your first position then?
Just assistant, really. Just the lowest of the low, out carrying bags, handing people lenses, doing anything I could. So like a gopher, gaffer, sort of just a field assistant.
Yeah, and this was.
You work your way up when they start to trust you, and you get offered the odd sort of second camera role. They let you have a little go and see what you can do, and then you sort of build from there, really. And was this on location somewhere, like filming for BBC, or was this for movies? I got work experience at the BBC, so I had like a work placement experience thing, and I worked on a series in the UK called Watch Out, which was just UK based. And then I got to know a few different people, and they offer you jobs, and you go and work as an assistant in America or wherever the shoots were, all short-term shoots. And then hopefully a camera operator doesn't think you're an absolute idiot, and then they ask you to come back again and go from there, really. Well, whoever you learned from, like, they must have had some skills, because you're a beast, dude. You got if you guys aren't inspired by this guy's work, you should definitely check it out. Check out his Instagram. The stuff is just mind-blowing. Anyway, so I think I've taken up enough of your time. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, or I mean, I could leave you on here. We can just shoot the shit for a little bit, or I could take some calls from the audience. Yeah. I can text you answers. All right, Jamie. Thank you so much, my man. It's been real, and hopefully when this quarantine thing ends, we can coordinate. Doing something. You get a Ritzel tank, I'll be there in a heartbeat. Yeah. Well, I mean, I will film BTS for you, for whoever you're working for free. Let them know. Do the pitch. Well, yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. I fly first class, and yeah, of course, yeah. And I just want to operate the GSS or Cineflex or whatever you're using. You just want to go straight in there. Yeah, at 2,000 millimeters. Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. All right, my man. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you for your time. Pleasure. All right, bye. Anytime. Wow, Jamie McPherson. That guy is a beast. All right, so you guys want to
Let's see, what questions do I have from the audience? All right. All right. Are we on this camera? Yeah.
Yo, bro, this is Jacob from Windsor. I want to know, what advice would you give the Josh that just picked up a camera for the first time?
Ooh, what advice to give Josh that just picked up the camera for the first time? Dude, I remember buying my first camera. My first camera was actually 5D Mark II. And I remember feeling so overwhelmed, like just with all the buttons and not even really understanding what the relationship between ISO, shutter speed, and aperture was. And so, honestly, if I were to go back and give myself some advice, it would be just to shoot on auto for, just put everything on full auto and then just shoot video that way until you kind of understand what's going on. Because so much of my footage was overexposed and blown out and unusable. And for some reason, I had this ingrained in my thought from watching other YouTubers that you had to shoot everything in a super flat profile and you wanted manual so you could be a boss and, you know, have full control over everything. But I didn't really know what the camera was doing and I didn't know how to get the most out of those images. And that's for video and photos, actually. It's funny now that I'm like analyzing more of my work and spending more time color grading, the importance of nailing the exposure and white balance is like everything for me. And I'm talking like the specificity on nailing exposure can be achieved with, you know, by taking, instead of going from, you know, like an aperture 4 to, you know, 4.5 or 5.6 or whatever. Instead of doing that, you're using like a manual lens and just dialing it up a little bit in between the stops, or you're maybe doing the shutter speed and you're going from 1/60 to 1/80, just so it's a little bit darker. Like that is the finesse that I'm talking about in, you know, when I'm shooting and trying to nail exposure. And so first camera, that's exactly what I would do. I would just go auto all the way, and at the very least, you're going to nail exposure and you'll figure it out as you go. All right. Next question.
Yo, bro, this is Jason from Johnson City, Tennessee, and my question is, what steps have you taken?
Let's take this back.
Yo, bro, this is Jason from Johnson City, Tennessee, and my question is, what steps have you taken to get to where you are? Did you go to school? Are there any jobs that you credit with giving you that push forward?
I didn't go to school. I did start out taking a photography course. I think it was on like, it was either on, I think it was on Skillshare. It was like an overall just regular photography course. And I'm not a great photographer at all. I don't actually think I'm a good photographer by any stretch. But I took the photography course because cinematography, a big aspect of it is just composing for that frame. So if you can master what a good photograph would look like, then you can just add a little bit of movement. And honestly, that's how I started. I didn't go to school. I just took some online courses. And then I've always just kind of kept up that mentality of like, what can I do next to push the envelope? What can I try now that I haven't tried before? What is actually going to inspire me the more I go through with this? So good question, my man. Let's see. Let's take another one.
Yo, bro, this is Ryan from Islamabad. I'm just working on a project. I was wondering, what are your top tips on creating sound design from scratch?
All right, top tips for creating sound design from scratch. First of all, nothing is from scratch. Get Epidemic Sound. They have amazing sound music library, but they also have sound effects library and stems. The sound effects there, you're going to want to search through the tab, use like the regular, like most basic words that you're looking for, light bulb, ocean, you know, like whatever it is that you're going to try to find, and then just go start searching through that. Download as many of them as you can, and then start storing them. I'm not sure what their plan is on using them after the subscription expires, but I think every editor who's doing sound effects, they have a whole library of sound effects that they've just slowly accumulated over the years. And they have, I have probably 100 go-to sound effects that I can manipulate. I can slow down the timing. I can I can change the pitch. I can add reverb. You're starting to mold all of these sound effects to really fit the project. But I reuse a lot of them. So starting from scratch, do royalty-free music site that has sound effects. There's also Motion Array does a sound effects pack as well. So if you're looking for those cool Otis style HUD sound effects, Motion Array has a bunch of those. That's definitely one that I subscribe to. Sasha, any super chat questions? No super chat questions? You guys a bunch of cheap bitches. Not a single super chat? Not one? I made a whole maze for you guys, a whole Yo Bro lockout, nothing. All right, any good questions that come up?
Why don't you handle the next one, and I'll get you.
All right, my man.
Yo, bro, this is Stefan. I'm from Vogel, Austria, and here is my question for you.
Hold on.
What is the
You're talking, bro.
Bro, this is Stefan. I'm from Vogel, Austria, and here is my question for you. What was the best decision in your filmmaking career?
What is the best question in my... What is the best question? Decision. What is the best decision in my filmmaking career? I should really get another mic and just have another mic pointed right at the... Best decision in my filmmaking career was launching a YouTube channel. 100%. If you go back and you look at the first episode that I shot, it's cringeworthy. And there's so much that you can learn when you force yourself into a position that is very uncomfortable. So doing this, for example, live streaming, is very uncomfortable for me personally. It's not something I enjoy. Doing YouTube episodes and filming yourself and talking and trying to be exciting and editing that is also really, really uncomfortable. And, I started the YouTube channel with the idea in mind that I was going to grow the audience and then start growing the skill set as well. So by the time I was finished with YouTube and I had built the audience, I also had built a really good skill set. And I think that's something that is overlooked a lot, especially with younger content creators. Everyone's all about Instagram and getting famous and being recognized and getting brand deals and just having more opportunities. And I think the thing that I would suggest, for someone just starting out is if you put yourself in that uncomfortable position, you start making those decisions, you're gonna get really, really good at something. So, what you got, Sash?
Super chat's only available on public video as far as it's private, apparently.
Is private?
That's what they're saying.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why is it not? Why is it? Is it unlisted? Is there an icon around there that says?
I don't see anything.
How did I fuck this up again? Oh man, this is the third. This is the third live stream I've ever done. I still haven't figured it out. This might be the last live stream I ever do. All right, I like that guy. Let's see if he's got another question.
Okay, 1 second, Josh.
Would you switch from Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro 10 to DaVinci Resolve for advanced color grading, like creating LUTs? And how do you handle that?
Would I switch from Premiere Pro to DaVinci for color grading? I use Premiere Pro and DaVinci intertwined. Premiere Pro does have some new advanced color grading stuff, but it's still nowhere close to DaVinci. And also Premiere Pro is just such a mother effer with how many crashes and bugs and updates that don't really like do anything. I feel like DaVinci is a lot faster, a lot more efficient. Like with DaVinci, you can batch export clips probably 100 times faster than with Premiere. I mean, it's so easy. So let's say you're color grading. But this is a good example. When I was shooting for CNBC, Secret Lives of the Super Rich, I was shooting on a Sony A7S Mark I, and all the other camera guys were shooting on a C300 Mark II. So I was shooting on a $1,500 or $2,000 camera, and they were shooting on a $10,000 or $15,000 camera at the time. And I was shooting in 4K, but the deliverables needed to be in 1080. So I couldn't actually turn over 4K footage to the producers because because broadcast television at the time does not take 4K. It's just HD. And so I had, like, at the end of the day, 200 clips, probably, maybe 300, that needed to be converted from 4K to 1080 just so I could hand them over to the producers and they could ingest them and hand it over to the editors, right? So it's a huge workflow, and I couldn't afford a C300 Mark II at the time, so this was what I did, and the producers liked my work so much that they let me get away with it. So what I would do is I'd actually color grade each clip in DaVinci, copy those settings, paste it to the next clip, and then once I was finished, it might take me half an hour to just make some adjustments, shooting an S-Log or whatnot, making sure it looks all good and it kind of matches what I was seeing on the other camera with the C300. Then I would batch export all of those out as individual clips, rename them, and put them on a hard drive. And so through this whole process, like the whole batch, like color grading and batch export, it's very much like a Lightroom. Like it would be the equivalent of color grading your photos in Photoshop or do 200 of them in Lightroom. It's the same. So that's what I found the most useful. And I haven't switched over fully to DaVinci Resolve just because it's like there's so many transitions and effects that I have to like rebuild from scratch in DaVinci, and I don't even know if they're possible yet. And I just know it is a little bit of a time commitment for me. So I probably will switch over eventually. I haven't done it yet. And so as of right now, if I'm color grading something that's really complicated and I need all of the tools, then what I'll do is I will color grade it in DaVinci and export out that clip as a whole new clip and then just re-ingest it or replace the file in the edit on my computer or in the timeline. Sasha, you figure out a way to get a super chat up?
This is Fat from Vienna, and my question for you is, which one would you rather buy? Mavic Air or a Mavic First Gen?
All right, which would I rather buy, Mavic Air or Mavic First Gen? Mavic Air, for sure. I think the Mavic, just make sure you're not talking about the Mavic Mini. So the Mavic Air has H.265 encoding. It's louder than the First Gen, I think. It's definitely a higher pitch. The blades are moving faster, so you're going to hear it further. So it might, if you live somewhere where noise is a thing, then that might be a deal breaker for you. But the color on the Mavic Air is much better, and the white balance, the color sign, like how the camera decides what the white balance is also much better than the First Gen. So Mavic Air all the way.
How did you get into filmmaking from modeling?
Modeling? Bro, I wasn't a model. I never made it anywhere as a model. Not fucking once. I never got anywhere as a model. I attempted to be a model. I had this idea in my mind that I wanted to be a model, and so I got like super jacked and ripped and like with this idea that I was going to be like an underwear model, like thinking that was something to aspire to, right? And I didn't realize that underwear modeling is the byproduct of when your career is not working. Like nobody aspires to be an underwear model. That's what you do to pay the bills when you can't do the things that you want to do. So this is the mentality of like a 21-year-old moving back to LA from Scottsdale, Arizona, and just a total bro, not having a clue at all. All right. What's this guy's? Let's see what he's got.
Yo, bro. Zach Moore from St. Petersburg, Florida. How you doing, man? Listen, my question for you is I have older equipment. I got a Canon 80D, some EF lenses. I'm trying to get into real estate, but I'm also trying to get into portrait studio photography. Should I upgrade my studio space to make it more customer friendly, or should I invest in better gear? Give me some advice, man. I'd love to have it from you.
Hold on, I gotta play that again.
Yo, bro. Zach Moore from St. Petersburg, Florida. How you doing, man? Listen, my question for you is I have older equipment. I got a Canon 80D, some EF lenses. I'm trying to get into real estate, but I'm also trying to get into portrait studio photography. Should I upgrade my studio space to make it more customer friendly, or should...
All right, so you haven't started in real estate or portrait photography, and you're wondering what you should do, upgrade this. I mean, definitely having a space is everything. I mean, I think my creativity and just my overall quality of what I was shooting tripled the moment I moved into a studio, just because you have more space. You can use longer lenses. You can make things look better. You can set up really nice lighting. And it definitely does. It does look impressive if you have the money and the time to build a studio. Then for sure, if you can do it, that's what I would do. But also, what's the point of building the studio if you don't have the clients and you haven't worked and you haven't you don't have that money coming in yet. So, interesting question. I don't know. I would say, what do you really want to do? Do you want to do real estate and try that? See if you can rent. What camera would I recommend for real estate? Rent the Blackmagic 6K with the EFS 10 to 18 millimeter lens. You get 6K. You'll get super wide angle. That's one of the best cameras right now for filming real estate. It'll cost you, just that camera and lens is going to cost you $3,000. So, that's an easy way for you to figure out if you like the real estate game. And I would start with that. Portrait photography, I don't do portrait photography, so I can't really help you out there, bro. And if you're doing real estate, you don't need a studio anyway. I only use a studio for YouTube. I don't use a studio at all for, when I film real estate. Their home is my studio. All right. Who else do we got?
Listen, dude, your workflow is amazing. Your channel's kick-ass. You're a full-time videographer, and you're making films and shorts. How do you manage your workflow? How do you stay focused? Are you outsourcing editing? Do you have somebody work part-time for you? You are incredibly organized. Give us some advice on how you do it, man. I'd love to know.
All right. Another one from... Is this guy's name Zach? So another one from Zach. How do I stay organized and focused? I don't know. I take it like one day at a time. I do whatever it is that I want to do. I have some pretty bad ADD or ADHD, whatever you want to call it. And so I'm constantly seeking some sort of stimulation. Learning something new is a form of stimulation. You're getting a dopamine rush. So I don't feel, as much as you think that I'm being organized and on it, I don't feel that way. I feel like I'm all over the place trying a million different things. And I think maybe I'll reinterpret your question as like, how do I have the execution or the follow through? Because that is something that I do think I have. I think I just got tired of people letting me down and promising me stuff and not following through. And just like, nowadays I really respect people who follow through with what they say, under promise, over deliver. And that's just something that I kind of, that's the agreement that I made. I would take my time releasing videos. I don't have to do a video every 3 days like the normal formula tells you to. I release a video once a month if I have to, however long it takes the video to get done. But did I accomplish in that video what I set out to do? Did I learn something? Did I fully execute it? Those are the questions that I ask myself. And so I appreciate it. Thank you for the encouragement, and hope I answered your question. Let's see. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but if you guys are wondering how you can be on the Yo Bro hotline, I am playing a game on my Instagram called Lockout. Pretty funny story. My last upload, ANAMORPHIA, I was supposed to have a sponsor to that. I'm not going to say who it was, but a real company was supposed to sponsor ANAMORPHIA, and it was definitely my fault. Last minute, I pitched it to them like maybe a week before I uploaded. And so they really didn't have a whole lot of time to figure out what it was that I was pitching them, how they could get involved. And so they ended up backing out, last minute before when I had planned to upload. And so I changed some things around and I came up with Story Balls. And so Story Balls is a real website now that I bought. And it's my way of like keeping you guys entertained and giving away some stuff. So like this week, we got a couple winners of two brand new Aperture MCs. I use these things all the time. I'm also giving away a couple other items. Ronin S. We have a Sony RX100 Mark VII. And I'm also going to give away my own personal Blackmagic Pocket 4K. Now, I don't know when I'm going to give it away. I haven't built the whole puzzle yet, but so far we got 2 puzzles, 2 mystery boxes. So if you guys want to start playing, it's running right now. You can't win these anymore. That challenge is over. But I am launching another one later on this week. And so this is just my way of keeping you guys busy and entertained. And I have these random little hidden challenges where if you complete them fast enough, then you can call in and be on the Yo Bro hotline. So let's go through some of these winners, actually. Sasha, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I want to ask a question from Anja. She's actually the only woman.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Andrea?
Anja, A-N-J-A.
Anja. All right, what's Andrea say?
If you could choose one person to work with for a project of your choice, who would it be and what would the project be?
If I could work with one person of my choice, who would it be and what would it be? Fucking Chris Nolan, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I don't know what I would do. I'd be happy getting coffee for the guy. Although I hear he doesn't allow cell phones on set. Like, he still doesn't have a cell phone. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, Chris Nolan does not have cell phones or believes in cell phones. That's who I would work with for sure. I would just like to see his process. Like, could you imagine what a trip it would be when he was pitching Inception, like the script? He had the script. Like, you know how hard it was just watching that film the very first time, trying to figure out what happened? Imagine reading it, because I don't know if you guys have experience reading scripts, but reading scripts is a lot harder to understand than watching movies. And, you're left to your own imagination to fill in, the cinematography and the visual story cues and the music cues that often help tell stories. And so, I think I read a story where Leo had to have Chris break down Inception for him personally, just to kind of figure out what level it would be amazing to be a fly on the wall in those conversations and see how they put that together. All right, so let's go to camera 2.
Fully?
Whatever this one is.
Fully? Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys. First call.
Let's see here. I want to see what's on my story. Here we go. All right. Let's see who won this one. So we had a lot of good submissions. Sasha, are you on the right camera? Yeah. Cool. So we had a lot of good submissions for this. So this hidden challenge was to just roast me with these little lockout cards. Lockout cards are something that you can share, and I got some things planned for lockout cards, but I had a couple of good ones that made me laugh in here. Let's see. This is from Beholder. For denim emergencies, press 1. Drone piloting, press 2. Injure yourself on a one wheel or Segway, hang up, dial 911. It's pretty good. This is funny. Somebody's photoshopped me as Tony Stark. There we go. Now it's full screen. Look at that. What do you think of that, Sash?
That's awesome. I've seen it before.
You've seen it before. That's pretty good. Very clever. I like that. I dig. I wonder what happens when you mix GTA with Pokemon cards. I know it is kind of like a Pokemon card, isn't it? I don't know. I wanted something that you guys can just share, and you know, if you find them hidden around, it like gives you more incentive to keep playing and keep going. This one's good. What do you get when you add Paul Blart, Jay Leno, and Tony Stark? That's me. That's about accurate. Not denim, not just for pants. That's pretty good. I like that. It's simple, clean. I could see that on a billboard. This is good. This is like, it's got Coachella vibes. Here's a voice that tells him, don't believe what you see, and answers back. It begs the question, is Makart now suffering from schizophrenia? I'm actually concerned. Bro, I am concerned too. I think my grandma on my mom's side actually had like late onset schizophrenia. I think. I'm not exactly sure. I never met her. But so it could be in there. You could be right. Here we go. Dude, this one's fucking gangster. This is just so clean and easy. I don't know. I mean, that's pretty good Photoshop.
Access denied.
Oh, look at this one.
Otis, I'd like to open up a new project. I'm sorry, incorrect passcode.
Wow. That one is so good. I mean, how did that guy even do that?
Access denied. Otis, I'd like to open up a new project.
All right, for sure. That guy for sure. All right, for sure. I mean, I feel like it's cheating because you're obviously got some skills in animating, but the creativity on that is pretty good. Druv Shakvid? I'm definitely butchering that, but dude, great work. Got one of these coming to you from Aperture. Who's gonna get the next? Ooh, this is a slow burn from New Lawyer. Oh man, I have one goal in life, and that is for people on the street to think that guy is me. So they go up to him and they're like, "Hey, do you have that YouTube channel?" Not the other way around. This is what happens when Makart now can't reprise his role season 3 due to COVID. Yep, that's about right. All right, let's see. Oh, this is a good one. This guy,
Yo, you got me, yo. I'm going to play a wonderful game called Parallax. Fuck you, asshole. This is meant hot air balloon. Give you a lift? Yeah.
Wow. All right, that's definitely a runner-up. I really like that one, but this one is super special. Gregory Eisman, thank you, dude. I appreciate that. My friend Bobby passed away 2 days ago from complications of COVID. I don't really know exactly what happened. I'm not trying to make a thing out of it, but I did post a little something on Instagram about it. Bobby was one of the architects of the Time Machine, and we built it at Burning Man. He was the very first person that I called to help me build that project. And I never met him before. He reached out to me when he saw Deep Playa Sunrise, and he was like, I don't care what you're working on next, but I want to work on your next project with you. And I thought that was amazing. And Deep Playa was like the first film that I put up. So he was 100%, he was the first person I called. And so, I mean, he saved the Time Machine build because I did a whole YouTube video on it. You should check it out. But during my lowest point in time, I had separated my shoulder, and it didn't look like we were going to make the deadline at all. We had like 2 or 3 weeks left before we had to move this 2,500-pound sculpture to Burning Man and set it up. And it was just a whole, like the world was coming down. And Bobby swung in, picked up lunch, made a dozen phone calls, got a bunch of volunteers to help build and paint. He raised another $5,000 after we had blown through like $15,000 of our budget. Within like 2 days, raised $5,000. Totally saved the project. And he's just he was the most amazing guy you've ever met. So Gregory, I'm honored that you that you worked it into this little video competition thing. Thank you, man. All right, this one is good. Make art now. So it is possible to balance on a gimbal, then balances. So is it possible? I read that wrong. So is it possible to balance this on a gimbal? That's pretty good, dude. I don't know if you can see that, but it's like, oh, the skill set on editing that together. Bravo, my man.
Yo, you got me, yo. I'm gonna play a wonderful
Oh, we watched this one. This one's good.
Fuck you, asshole. This is magic. Hot air balloon? Give you a lift? Yeah.
Wow. Pretty good. I like that one. Yep, Grand Theft Auto. This is good. What else we got? Oh, man. Wow. We got a little photo of me at high school wearing a leopard skin tuxedo plus Skillshare equals me now. That's exactly right. That's the power of neuroplasticity. That's pretty good, man. Right. Some says he's Iron Man, but he's more like Doctor Strange between puzzles and making me question existence. Wow. Somebody found a film that I was in a couple of years ago. This is actually a really good film. I'm going to talk about this on the next Yo Bro Hotline. This is a film I did in Utah. I was a PA. I was a 30. This is, almost 5 years ago. I was 30 years old as a PA working on this like road film. And I just remember being incredibly like, I didn't know if I was supposed to be humbled or ashamed of being 30 years old and being a PA, but I just remember it was a lot of fun. And it was like my brain was just absorbing everything. So if I actually got a late start in filming. I didn't even pick up my first camera till I was like 28, 29, right? So think about that. I went, age 28, I got my first camera, 5D Mark II. And then I get a job as a PA, so all these things can happen in a relatively short amount of time. So this is cool. Great callback. You're definitely not going to win. Neither is this guy. This guy found another film that I was in. Oh my God. Wow. Oh man. Oh God. I'm not even going to tell you the name of that film. You can find it. You can find it yourself. Go down that rabbit hole. This is such a good story. I'll have to tell it another time, but basically he's a good guy, but there's this director in Hollywood that does these stylized films. I don't know if he still does them, but it's like the biggest joke for the actors involved because we thought we were getting involved with a real legitimate film. And then when you saw the film, you realize that they cut it for a very particular set of audiences. And it's mostly like, I don't know what I'd call it, gay porn. It's a very particular audience. There's no nudity in it, but it's cut in a way where this is not a horror film. This is meant for something else. So I tried my best to buy every copy of this I could, and somehow somebody found it. So there it is. Listen, y'all start somewhere. All right, so that guy's definitely not going to win either. All right, I think that's it. Who else am I going to give it to? Sasha, which one? I think that one. I think the Superman one. I think that one made me laugh the hardest. All right, that's it. So, on your direct. That guy. You got the next one. All right, what else do I have to do? Yeah, sure.
FF asked, where do you see yourself in the future? Like, what's your vision for yourself?
Where do I see myself in the future? I don't know. I'd like to get into, doing some films. I mean, ANAMORPHIA was the first time that I put myself in front of a camera, picking up the acting hat again. So that was up until that point, I hadn't really considered doing any more acting, like, ever. I kind of divorced myself from that, and now I can see that that's could be a possibility again. So who knows? I mean, it's funny when you think about all the megastar actor producers, like they all just make their own content and scripts. And so, like Tom Cruise produced Mission Impossible. Like he probably would have got roles similar to that anyway, but he totally shaped that. And like the Duplass brothers and Ben Stiller, Ben Affleck, Charlie Chaplin, Orson Welles, like all of these really creative filmmakers, they wrote their own starring roles. They didn't care, and they did. I think they did well. Like even Ben Affleck in Argo, holy cow, what a great performance that is. Ben Affleck, love him or hate him, I think he's a great actor, and I think he's an even better director when he's acting in the piece. I think he has a really good sense of storytelling. Really, really good. I really like The Town. And I think that's incredibly hard to do when you're directing and acting. I think he directed The Town. He looked that up?
Yeah,
he did, right? So, I don't know if that's going to be me, but that's definitely something to aim for. Make your own stuff. Put yourself in it. Why not? Who cares? Like, listen, there's nobody on this planet that doesn't want to be a star. Like, everybody somewhere in their inside wants to just, be the next Will Smith or The Rock. And I think it takes a lot of work, and I think it's a lofty goal, but, you could definitely do it. It's been done, and it's going to be done again by somebody. So why them? Why not you? That's what I think. Anyway, what else do I have to go through, Sash? Let's see. Any other questions? How do you guys like this format? I'm working here with my partner, Sasha, who we share the office, and we kind of are in agreement that our families just kind of don't go outside of this. So we're trying this whole quarantine thing and still try to get some work done. How do you guys feel about that? Are you guys okay? Are you offended? I feel like it's pretty safe, but I could be wrong. I could be overstepping my bounds here. Sasha's wearing a mask. Any questions? How do we turn on Super Chat once it's already started? That's what we should ask. By the way, if you guys want to know, streaming this with the ATEM Mini Pro, the new one. Lots of good functionality over the regular ATEM Mini. I think it's like $699, but we got multiple, cameras set up. And this has just been a good experience working with it with the new setup. I think on the regular Mini, it won't downscale 4K into 1080. I think you'll get errors. But on the Mini Pro, you can put in a 4K signal and it'll downscale it to 1080. I don't know. That could be a firmware update that might already be fixed with the ATEM Mini regular. But with the Pro, it's the first thing I noticed. I was like, oh, I don't have to turn 4K off on all my cameras. It can ingest it properly. So still figuring this out. We're going to do another one of these on Friday, and I'm going to take some more callers and kind of work out all the kinks. Sasha, do we have any callers?
Yeah, you want to do a call?
Sure, let's go for a call. We got these coming out to you guys. I will contact you personally. Thank you guys so much for playing. We are going to play some more games. I'm just going to keep building them up. They take me a little bit of time. So let's take a call. Yo, bro.
Yo, bro. Do you need an intern? I have no job and I have no business.
Next caller, bro. Yo, bro.
Yo, bro. If I can get a shout out on your Instagram, that would be amazing.
Next caller. Yo, bro.
I'm going to Zion this winter, and I want to see if you want to go.
It's the same guy.
My treat. It's going to be just like awesome.
Next caller. Not going to Zion. Sorry, bro. Yo, bro.
Bro, if you don't want to go, I'll ask your mom.
Oh, my man. That's so good. All right. Who is that? Zach?
That was Chaz.
Chaz. My man. Chaz. I'll drink to that. Take my mom. She'll have a blast. All right, guys, any other questions before we cut off? I think we're, what, 2 hours in? Almost. Hour and a half in. Oh, I think a couple of you guys had asked me what I thought about the Canon R5. I will say this, I'll do the next topic heavily on this one, but the specs look really, really, really good. Although I am concerned, so if you guys don't know, this Canon just released the specs. Canon R5 shoots 8K, full frame. I don't know how much it's going to be priced at. I think probably between $4,000 and $5,000. Could be wrong. And shoots 4K 120. I don't know if that's going to be cropped or not, but you have internal 10-bit C-Log, so you got some crazy, crazy specs there. I will say this. It shoots 8K internally up to 29 frames per second, which is done with an H.265 codec.
You think the Sony will keep up with it?
I'll answer that question. So here's what I think. I recently tried the Zcam F8, which also does a full frame 8K H.265. Dude, the files to edit on that were so impossible because it's not like working with 8K like red code or red raw, or if Blackmagic does 8K B raw. Those are economized to for the most amount of efficiency when you're editing and color grading, so that they don't bog down your computer. It's encoded in the hardware on the camera, and also it's made efficient on your computer. To edit 8K H.265, my 2017 iMac Pro, which was like $8,000 when I bought it, started smoking. It wouldn't even play back a single frame. And this is done different camera, different sensor, but if the Canon R5 is going to be anywhere similar to that, where it is an H.265 8K image, H.265 8K video file that you're supposed to edit, the workflow is going to be a lot harder. And I don't know, you're gonna have to make proxies, or you're gonna have to buy a custom built PC Threadripper and use DaVinci Resolve to do all your editing, something that's really streamlined. Because I can't even get 4K H.265 files sometimes to play back on Premiere on my laptop. You double them up, you do any sort of effects, forget it. You're no longer editing in 4K or 8K. You are making proxies, which is the way to go, but it's an extra step, and I don't know that enough of the mainstream, shooters out there have adopted that workflow yet. So that's my only thing. But, to keep it real, guys, I started on Canon. I've spent more money on Canon, and I have more Canon glass than any other brand. So I love Sony because I think it's the cheapest, and it's the best bang for your buck, and it offers the most versatility. Low light, frame rates, the color's great, and their glass is really, really sharp on the G Masters. I would say that their G Master glass is like 8K ready. Other lenses are not 8K ready. So you may be shooting in 8K, you may be shooting with a 42 megapixel photo, but when you pixel peep, try it on a wide angle lens next time. Try it on a 12 millimeter lens and pixel peep, zoom in and see how sharp it is at 42 megapixel photograph, right? See how much actual, micro contrast is in the edges. And then compare that to 100 millimeter macro and compare those edges, zooming in the same amount. And you'll see a very stark contrast of lens sharpness. And I think that's going to be the bottleneck for all of these 8K cameras. You can shoot 8K, but unless you're shooting on glass that is sharp enough to resolve 8K, which not every piece of glass is, your images are going to look the same. So I'm stoked for Canon. I think it's great. I think competition is great. I have spent more money on Canon. I currently have a C300 Mark II. I just sold my 1DX2. I just sold my C200, and I started on a 5D Mark II. So could I pick up this camera? Probably. I mean, I'd love to see it. You know, I'm a camera whore. I don't care what camera it is, what brand it is. Like for me, it's all about experimentation and trying. So I'm super pumped. I think it's gonna be great. More competition. I don't care. Like it's gonna be awesome. Everyone's work is gonna go up, and you know, a lot more LUTs and presets to sell for, you know, YouTubers. So it's good all around. And I think, you know, hopefully Sony does release the A7 S3 at some point. But if it's going to be good in low light, I don't see how that's going to be a 42 or 52 megapixel camera unless they're doing something unless they're wiring a whole other base ISO, and it'll be like, I don't know, Trio native ISO, you know what I mean? And like their base is 6400 ISO at 52 megapixels. I don't see how they're going to do an 8K low light, you know, follow up to the, you know, A7S II. I don't see it happening. But I'm hopeful. I think they'll come up with something different. Probably 8K or, you know, whatever. And I'll get that one too. So, any last questions? Let's do one more. We'll do one more.
Let's do one personal.
One personal question. Oh, we had some good personal questions in here, didn't we? Well, you got one on there?
Yeah, I got a good one. You'll like this one. Is there a moment in which you were not creative and inspired?
Is there a moment when I'm not creative and inspired? All the time. I think the biggest illusion of being a YouTuber or being a public figure is that what you're seeing right now is me all the time. It's not. Like, inspiration has to be found. You have to go searching for it, or sometimes it discovers you, or sometimes you have to play like a song, and you know, that song that makes you dance and makes you like really, really feel good. Like sometimes that can, like, you know, get the inspiration juices going, and then you're like artistically turned on. So if I give you the impression that I'm always turned on and just always like super creative, I am grossly exaggerating how often that is, because I do have to go seek it. So good question. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. I'll see you guys next week. When are we doing this again? Friday? Let's do this on Friday. Yeah. Yo, bro. Thank you. Good questions.